Hello beer tubers and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the master of hoppets. Today looking at a really frickin' special beer. Both to me and I think to many other beer geeks around Denmark and just beer people in general. Because this is a culmination of two historic beers. So this, guys, is none other than the Thisted Bryghus and Mikkeller collab, Beer Geek Limfjordsporter. What do you say to that? That is so cool. So this one, guys, I got from bestofbeers.dk. Feel free to check them out. They have this on their webshop right now, along with a ton of new stuff they just got in, some founders and whatnot. So check them out, bestofbeers.dk. Link is in the description below. But this beer, guys, is, as I said, very special. It's a combination of two beers, two of the famous beers from Denmark. Thisted Limfjordsporter, which is a Baltic porter made with smoked malt and black licorice. And it's just a classic in Danish beer and brewing history. It was one of the first great beers a lot of people had, and it's still, to this day, one of the best Baltic porters in the world in my mind. I love that beer so much. It's the one, if you follow me on Untapped, you've seen me check into multiple times, calling it cake. I stopped checking it in for a while, still drink it often. It's probably my go-to beer. And the other part of the beer is that it's another iconic Danish beer. It's Mikkeller's first famous beer, the Mikkeller Beer Geek Breakfast, his coffee oatmeal stout, his breakfast stout. So, combination from the two recipes. So what this is that Mikkel from Mikkeller contacted, or was in talks with Antoni from Thisted Bryghus at a brewer conference or something like that, and he said he always drank a lot of Limfjordsporter back in the day, and pitched the idea about doing a collaboration where they mixed the recipe for Mikkeller's Beer Geek Breakfast and Thisted's Limfjordsporter. So that is really cool. I actually already had this at CBC, but it's going to be awesome having it with a fresh palate right now and right out in the sun. Maybe not the best beer fitting, but who cares? It's such a cool idea in beer. So yeah, they agreed on that and they mashed up the styles. So it's basically a yeah, well, does it say if it's a porter or a stout? It still says Beer Geek Limfjordsporter, so I guess it's still a Baltic porter. That's then also made with oats, sugar, and coffee, and also licorice and smoked malt. So, kind of a weird mashup. It's 7.7%. They basically says this is a tribute to the classic beer Thisted Limfjordsporter. And then says it has warm coffee notes, American hops, flaked oats together with smoke and licorice. Beer Geek Limfjordsporter, cheers. And then, yeah, it's, as I said, a tribute to a classic. So cool, so cool, so cool. Can't wait to try this now. And the label there is a mashup of Thisted Bryghus label for their Limfjordsporter, and the color scheme is for Mikkeller's Beer Geek Breakfast with some, was it Sally and, I can't remember the other dude's name, but his two mascots. So, really cool. This was brewed up at Thisted Bryghus, which is a fairly local brewery to me. So really looking forward to see how this is going to turn out with a fresh palate. So let's get it cracked for you guys and poured. And again, in a familiar setting on my mom's patio or porch. Man, this is going to be so interesting. Beer Geek Limfjordsporter. It looks it's pretty much the same color as the Beer Geek or the Limfjordsporter, but the head is a little bit lighter in color. It's kind of beige. It's a black color, but you get some reddish notes, but you also get that in the regular Limfjordsporter. But let's check out the aroma. Smells like the classic. It smells really good. I mean, it's mostly classic Limfjordsporter on the aroma. It's also really nice now because it's not cold. I just had it in the fridge for like 15 minutes, 10 minutes. At the festival, it was ice cold, or cold because it was on tap. But I'm getting the smoke. I'm getting the black licorice. There's definitely a sweeter aroma to it from the oats and some coffee notes. But lots of like rich, roasty, intense, like roasty burnt notes almost, and that licorice. I like the coffee edge to it. And that subtle smokiness. It's not too intense, the smoke on Limfjordsporter. Oh, well, the regular one is kind of a slightly intense smoke aroma, but it's really cool. It's actually a very historic beer. It's first time the original Limfjordsporter, it was brewed in my city, in Aalborg, by the Urban Brewery. The recipe was different back then, but then Thisted Bryghus bought the recipe when the brewery closed down, and then the brewmaster at that time, Peter Clemmensen, kind of perfected the recipe over the years. And I've actually tried the very first batch from brewed in 1989 or 88, released in 99 or 89, I think, way back in the day. So that's actually the oldest beer that I've had, I think. But enough waffling. Let's give this a taste. Cheers, and thanks a ton to Best of Beers for the beer. That's really good. It's pretty much like classic Limfjordsporter, but with more coffee flavor and more sweetness. They also did a variation on it with licorice. I didn't review that one, but that one was maybe a little bit too licoricey. I think it was pretty much like a ton of extra licorice in that one, but yeah, this is really, really tasty. Nice velvety mouthfeel, super silky and slick. Nice dry, bitter aftertaste. Flavor up front is classic Limfjordsporter. Nice smokiness, nice burnt, roasty, intense notes. It's got a clean flavor as well to it. I'm not entirely sure if this is made with lager yeast like the other one, but I kind of guess it is because it's got that like clean, like no phenolics and esters and whatnot you get from lager yeast. There's just like a clean lager flavor. Because this is a true Baltic porter, or at least a regular version is. And then you get some sweetness, some extra sweetness. That's it's not too intense, but it's got a little bit of that sweet oaty flavor. And coffee on the aftertaste too. Oh no, actually the coffee's up front with the sweetness. And then you get this roast, but there's also some coffee on the aftertaste. A little bit of dark fruit to it as well. Man, this is a cool beer. So when you see me rate the regular version on Untapped, I always give it a 5 out of 5. Take it with a grain of salt. It's more or less just because it's an iconic beer for me and one of the first beers one of the beers that got me into craft beer. So I always give it 5 because it deserves it. It's one of the precursors for a lot of brewers and beer geeks to get into beer in general in Denmark. So for that, I think it deserves 5 stars on Untapped. Rating wise, I think I gave the barrel aged version a 95 of Limfjordsporter. At regular Limfjordsporter, I can't remember what I gave it because it's a long time ago since I reviewed it. I probably gave it like a 93 or something, like 94. I'd probably say 93 for the regular Limfjordsporter, and this is pretty much very similar, so I'm going to 92. It's a damn good beer, and it is such a cool collaboration to see happen, and I urge all you guys to go and get this beer just because it's a piece of Danish brewing history. The most famous, contract brewer and probably the most famous Danish brewer, Mikkeller from Mikkeller, and such an iconic Danish beer. And then they mash their iconic Danish beer, and then they mash those two beers. Mikkeller's one of Mikkeller's most iconic beers, and then the iconic beer from Thisted. So cool. Love it. 92 might not be insane high compared to all the whales, but this just deserves the review and the rep because I just think this is awesome. So, guys, if you get the chance, check out the Mikkeller Beer Geek Limfjordsporter. I think some of you guys might be a little disappointed in it when you try it the first time if you've hyped it up for yourself. I tried not to do that because I was thinking, tons of coffee and tons of sweetness, but you need some balance, and this has it. So you taste like elements of both the Limfjordsporter and the Beer Geek breakfast. So big ups to Antoni and Mikkel for making this happen. You guys rule. I would love to get one of the t-shirts with this logo. It'd be amazing. So as always, guys, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram, and let me know what you think of the Thisted Bryghus and Mikkeller Beer Geek Limfjordsporter if you've had a chance to try it. And also check out bestofbeers.dk and get yourself some if you want. And I know I'm going to be getting some bottles to age because this I think will age very well. So cheers, guys, and see you in another beer review.